If you look at the cloud business today and it continues to grow, which is what we expect, we believe in the next 5 to 10 years that edge applications will be as common as cloud applications.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another CX, and we have the pleasure of Robert Linsdell to our interview series today. Let's begin with just a quick introduction of what Engati is. Engati is the world's leading multilingual no-code chatbot platform available across 14 channels with 30,000 bots created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as the top platform by Inc.com, TechWorld, CIO, and many others. We run the Engati blog, the video channel, and the Engati CX podcast, receiving upwards of 300,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest. Robert Linsdell is a technology leader with a diverse background in multiple sectors, including telecoms, critical infrastructure, data center, IoT, electronic materials, chemicals, and coatings. He is also a thought leader in the field of core-to-edge data centers, linking the influence of customer experience with technology. But before we dive into all that awesomeness with Robert himself, here's a quick announcement. We have something special for all of you, so stick around till the end of the interview and you will find out what it is. So Robert, are you ready to dive in?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so I'm shooting the first question to you is, so Robert, first of all, starting off, what is edge computing and what advantage does it bring along with it?
Okay, edge computing, to some people, they often say that it's not new because we've actually had edge around for a long time. But as most people in the technology world know, over the last 10 years especially, we've had cloud, and everybody talks cloud, cloud, cloud. Mm-hmm. And the truth is that edge computing is truly what it says it is. It's access to compute decision-making and thoughts right where it is needed. Whereas cloud, it's very dependent. A lot of the thinking is done back at a big brain somewhere, and then the information is piped back out through a communications network. So that's what we tend to determine as the difference between edge and cloud.
Right. So, Robert, extending on that, how is it going to affect the decision-making processes of businesses?
Yeah, so the main advantage, there's a number of advantages, but one of the main advantages is speed, because it's pretty much instant. If you've got your computer right next to you, it actually talks to you immediately. You'll remember the days when we used to open up a website, especially when we were on 3G, it takes quite a long time. And then we went to 4G, it was a lot quicker. But if you actually open up an application on your phone, there is no delay. It just comes up and you're working with it. And that's really as the same as with edge computing. So if there's something that you need to do and you need to decide very, very quickly, something it may be interacting with you, you can't have any delay. I mean, as I'm talking with you now, it's instant. But if you were to take 2 seconds to answer, I'm going to be like this.
Yeah. That's perfectly said. I think, right now everything is on speed, and even when it comes to customers and internet, everybody requires speed, and everything is very fast paced. So I think that is very important in today's day. All right. So moving on to the next question, Robert, how can edge computing help companies improve processing speed and save cost and time also?
Yes, there's a lot of contradictions in your statement there. Well, first of all, edge computing really is about the customer experience. So once upon a time when all the decision making was being made back on the premise of the building, where the enterprise was actually operating, the decision making was made relatively quickly. But what's happening now is we're seeing obviously certain decisions being made via cloud. And if the decision is a slow decision or a decision which is not maybe so critical to the customer experience of that time, then that's okay. Of course, cloud delivers a lot of very good experiences. Don't think that it's not the case.
Right.
But there are situations whereby, for instance, I might want to talk or enter a piece of information onto maybe a screen. It needs to be instant. It's those situations that require us to have some infrastructure making that decision immediately. Now, cost effective. The cost effective is really dependent upon what value is that customer experience bringing to the person. So, yeah, obviously, what we want to do is we want to use the cheapest method of delivering that information to the individual. So, if that works with cloud, then that's great. But there may be instances where, for instance, that customer experience, and I'm going to go on to them in a moment, but I know you have another question for me, and I want to link those two questions together, all to do with the customer experience and how we react to those customer experiences.
Right, right. So let's go on a little deeper on the customer experience part of things, Robert. So how can technologies like edge computing, automation, AI-powered chatbots improve customer experiences?
And that really was where I wanted to go. So, I mean, chatbots don't just exist on a little box at the bottom of your screen when you're on a website. Chatbots can actually operate as part of the entry into a business rather than maybe talking to a human being.
Right.
Now, that avatar or AI-driven experience, when I'm talking to it, I expect it to respond to me very, very quickly.
Right.
And there's a lot of compute that's needed to drive that avatar that is interacting with me. And the decisions will need to be made at a local level. Now, it really dependent upon what question or how it's been programmed. That will be the determinant as to what your setup, what your infrastructure looks like. And so therefore, what we're anticipating is that when there's a lot of decision making, a lot of quick decision making, and maybe with a lot of high density graphics, then you're going to need to have that experience very, very close. Plus, also, one most important thing that I haven't mentioned so far is what Edge will give you is a degree of redundancy away from the central core. So you can imagine, and when we used to travel around by airplanes, quite often, sometimes there would be a failure, maybe in a data center, and then all the access to the terminals when they were checking you in, they all failed. Now, with certain experiences, we can have an autonomy where I can still be talking to the chatbot. I can still be talking to that customer experience at the locality, and it still functions, even if it's been disconnected from the brain in the center.
Right. That makes sense. Also, Robert, now that we are talking about AI chatbots and conversational intelligence as such, so according to you, why should AI-powered chatbots be included in a company's digital transformation strategy? Because a lot of these traditionally based businesses are still skeptical about using something like an AI chatbot. So what would your reasons be?
Well, I think one of the things that I always feel that when I'm working or dealing with a chatbot is that you're getting a consistency of service because it's being programmed to respond. Now, of course, there may be the occasional instances where maybe it doesn't understand, but even then it's programmed to not understand and say, look, I can't help you. Let me connect you to someone else who can perhaps help. But 99.5% of the time, the chatbot is being programmed appropriately. So therefore, and then because it's being AI driven, it's programmed to respond to the type of question, or maybe whether I have a smile on my face or whether haven't got a smile on my face. And therefore, maybe it can determine, I can tell you're angry with me. I mean, there's a lot of cleverness can be built in. And that cleverness is, again, dependent upon how much compute capability you have as it is interacting.
Right. And I think the major, aim behind this is kind of more humanizing the entire customer journey. Is because now I think that is more important, because people are already, we are in a world wherein, there is less human interaction and we are having that missing part of the puzzle. But, even when the chatbot, let's say if you come on the chatbot and, it takes your name, hey, Robert, how you doing? So it's humanizing the entire journey, which actually makes the customer a little bit more comfortable. And I think that helps with businesses. What do you think about that?
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree. We certainly have some of those experiences even with our data centers, although we've not got to the stage of putting a chatbot. But there isn't actually any reason why you can't get to a stage with a data center as you enter it, because you're doing some work in there that you're interacting, there's facial recognition, and we already have facial recognition to allow us into the data center. But when you're perhaps interrogating and engaging, if you've got the programming capability, the applications are endless. One of the use cases and I think we've even seen it, I don't know whether you've seen it around the world, but is retail. I mean, when retail comes back, it's absolutely an ideal application to be able to walk into a store, to talk to a chatbot, to say, okay, could you direct me? Because people prefer to talk to something. Can you direct me to where the red jackets are? Right. And then the chatbot can actually send you in that particular direction rather than you having to talk to a human being. I mean, there's nothing wrong with talking to a human being, but sometimes it's easier just to talk to something digital.
Yeah, and it also helps with saving time with the repetitive questions that are coming through, right? Along with the pricing and maybe a certain feature. So I think you can use the human power somewhere which is more productive, maybe like answering certain detailed questions maybe the chatbot can't handle. So I think that's where human resource can be used instead of the repetitive tasks.
What kind of applications are you being asked to program and create in the field where you've actually got an avatar which is talking to someone rather than being,
Right. Yep. Robert, this was fantastic. So many fresh insights that you brought through. Concluding, are there any thoughts that you would like to leave with our audience today?
Yes, I guess, I think we're entering another phase of growth. I mean, Edge at the moment, from what we see, is not so common. I mean, we have a number of applications, but it really isn't common. We estimate if you look at the cloud business today and it continues to grow, which is what we expect, we believe in the next 5 to 10 years that Edge applications will be as common as cloud applications. And if you think about that for 1 minute, because cloud is everywhere, that's a lot of Edge applications and a lot of interactions that will be happening between us, the customer experience, and the enterprises that are creating these applications.
Yep, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Robert Linsdell. Thank you so much, Robert, for giving us your time. Your insights have been very valuable.
A pleasure.
Yes, and I know our audience is really going to enjoy this interview. And as I mentioned before, there's a little surprise for the audience. So if you stuck around this long, we're so excited to announce that our ebook, The Evolution of Customer Experience, is out and available to download absolutely for free. So check the link in the description below and you will find out where that is. And we'll be back with a new episode and a brand new expert soon. So stay tuned and we'll see you around for the next one. Thank you so much, Robert.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good day.